Okay, I think so. So this is your homework, and then I think some of the for this one. Okay, like where do the plants have their evaporations? Okay, what's meaning of transpirations? Okay, you know from this they have the transpiration process happen, right? Which is when the roots when the roots itself they absorb the water. Water will enters into the root hair cell, which is on the roots by osmosis. By osmosis. And then the water they will go up, right? So when they go up, between I mean, which is oh sorry, eh, oh, eh. Hi Eden, you're inside. Eh, no. Oh, hi Eden. Okay. So now I'm discussing about your homework for the chapter 8. Okay, for the chapter 8. Yeah, for this one. You can see this one. The answer is B. This one, okay. They ask about which arrow show the water moving in the form of water vapors. So you can imagine that the water, when they travel up from the roots to the stem, and then when they reach the leaf. Okay, three part, right? Root, stem to leaf. So from the roots, the process is by osmosis. Then when they go into the stem, okay, they will enter into the stem, which is within the xylem vessel or the stem. So this process, like how the water able to travel up is by the pulling force. Okay, the pulling force is caused by the adhesion and the cohesion, right? Which is on the stem part. Adhesion and cohesion. So until the water, they will enter into the xylem parts on the leaf, and then they will get into the mesophyll cell. So this circle structure, actually they are referred to the mesophyll cell. You have about two type of mesophyll cell. You have two type of mesophyll cell, right? The palisade mesophyll cell, this one, palisade mesophyll cell, and the spongy. Okay, sorry, and the spongy mesophyll cell. So when the water from the xylem vessel enter into the mesophyll cell, so osmosis happen. Yeah, from this A, the osmosis will happen. But when the water, they will enter into the airspace. You know, there's an airspace among the spongy mesophyll cell, right? They have a lot of intercellular airspace. Airspace is just an empty space exists between the cell. So there are no air, there are no airspace. So when the water that evaporates into the airspace like this, enter into airspace, this empty space. So the process is known as an evaporation, which is from the water, they will become the water vapor. This process is known as an evaporation. Evaporation, I think you learned before, right? Which is a change in the state from liquid become gas. Water is liquid. Water vapor is just gas. So when the water become water vapor in the airspace, so the water vapors they will be released out, right? They will be released out from the airspace into the external environments, into the outside environments. Okay, so they will diffuse out through the stomata, through the opening of the stomata. This is the stomata. Sorry, is someone talking? Ethan, Suyang, are you talking? Uh, I thought you have question to ask. Okay, do you have any question to ask me? So, okay. This is a stomata. You can see this is the opening hole, right? So the stomata, they will be open when the stomata open, they will allow the water vapor to diffuse out. So this actually at this place, while the water vapor they release to the external environment through the stomata, this process is known as the simple diffusion. Okay, here they are known as a simple diffusion. Okay, so which arrow show the water moving in form of the water vapor? So the answer is B. Okay, the answer is B because they are actually releasing the water vapors. From D, C, A, they are still in the water state. D, C, A, they are still in water. Just in B, they will become the water vapors after they undergo the evaporations. So this whole process, which involved in the diffusions, water evaporation, become the water vapors, and the osmosis, right? And the osmosis that happens between the miscible cell, because the water they will diffuse from one cell to another cell. This whole process, which they help to pull the water from the roots to the stem until they reach the leaf, and then they will evaporate, become the water vapor. They are known as the transpirations. So transpiration is meaning of loss of water in form of the water vapor from the surface of the leaf by evaporations. Okay? So you have to be clear about the definition. Okay, for this one is a bit complex. Okay, you can see. Okay, which process happened during transpiration? Actually, it's donkey. Simple diffusion. Okay, just like I mentioned, do simple diffusion. When the water vapors they release out to the external environment through the stomata, that is meant by simple diffusion. It's not active transport. Okay. Active transport, because they require what? They require the help of the carrier proteins and the energy, right? So they are not involved in the transpiration. Transpiration, they only involved in the osmosis, evaporations into the airspace, which is the water become water vapor into the airspace, and then the water vapor diffuse out by the diffusions. Just these three process only, not include the active transport. Here, right? And then Suya? Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for these questions 20, why the answer is donkey is like, donkey, yeah. You can see this is leaf 1 and leaf 2, right? Leaf 1, they don't cover any surface. Because the leaf, they have upper part and lower part, right? This is upper part, the below part, there will be the lower epidermis. So the upper part have what? The upper part, they have the mesophyll cell, right? Yeah, which is the upper surface of leaf. Always remember that the upper surface of leaf, they have what? They have the mesophyll cell. Mesophyll cell, which they have a lot of chloroplast, right? They have the chloroplast. So they will receive the sunlight for the photosynthesis. Just they will receive the sunlight for the photosynthesis. But on the lower part of leaf, what would they have is they will have the stomata. Stomata are found on the lower epidermis, which is formed by a pair of gut cells. Okay, a pair of gut cells. So from the stomata, what they are doing is they will be doing this transpiration, right? Okay, so what happened is when you cover the leaf 2 with both two surface, yeah, you can see the both two surface. So what happened is, do you think that the photosynthesis can happen or not? You can see which leaf will be lower after an hour. There will be number 2 and the 4. Number 2 and the 4, they will be lower. Okay, lower means drop in their positions. You can see which leaf will be lower after an hour. They will be dropped in their position. So they will be in this way, like this. This also, they will be in this way, like this. Okay, so you can see that in the leaf tree, because the upper surface is covered, right? When the upper surface is covered, what happens is, can you do the photosynthesis or not? They are blocking their upper surface with the, what kind of this? Grease. Grease is just, it's an oil, right? It's an oil. So when you cover the upper surface with the oils, okay, so you're actually blocking the, like, the light penetrate into the leaf. So the leaf tree, they are unable to produce the sugar from the photosynthesis. So for the leaf fall, they are just covered with their lower surface, at lower surface only. Okay, but the upper surface is still exposed to the sunlight. So they are still able to produce the photosynthesis product, which is the glucose. So that's why they're able to lower down, because due to production of glucose, the leaf, they will be heavier. So they will lower down like this. And then for this one, V, okay, what they label V is they are referring to the xylem. This is the xylem. The xylem are facing inwards. See, here is xylem, 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 inwards. Okay, where is the phloem? Phloem, they will be facing outwards. Here's all the phloem. So the function is transport water and mineral ions. Okay, because this is the xylem. Phloem is, they will transport the dissolved nutrients only. There's no structures, they will be transport in the dissolved nutrients and mineral ions together in the one structure. No. So xylem, they will be helping to transport water, mineral ions, and the phloem, they will be helping in transport the dissolved nutrients, and the dissolved nutrients are including of the amino acids, the sucrose, those kind of nutrients. And then for this show about the process translocation. Can you see it? Because this is a leaf, right? Leaf, they contain the chlorophyll and chloroplast, so they're able to do the photosynthesis. So they will produce the glucose at their leaf. So what has happened is, glucose, after that, there will be converts, become the sucrose. And then they will enter into the phloem. Okay, so movement of amino acids happen in the phloem. This is A. So this is process is about the phloem. And then for this one, this is B, is because that the concentration of oxygen in the airspace of the green leaf of a plant during the 12-hour periods. So this is about 12-hour periods. So what happened is the oxygen concentrations, you can see they are actually reducing. They're actually reducing, right? So what happened is, so which statement about the carbon dioxide in the airspace during the time X is correct? So during the respirations, actually they are producing the carbon dioxide much more greater than in the photosynthesis. So that's why the respirations, they will be taking, they'll absorb, they use up the oxygens, and then they will release the carbon dioxide. For the photosynthesis, it actually, they will use up the carbon dioxide and then release the oxygens. However, you can see that the concentration of oxygens in the air reducing, right? Reducing, that means the oxygen is being absorbed, being used up. Then they will produce the carbon dioxide. So the answer is B. That means there will be higher rate of the respiration happen around this stage if compared to the photosynthesis. And then for this one, okay, this one you can observe about what thing? This is a leaf, right? And then you can see what happened is there's a lot of air chambers found between the mesophyll of the cell. The spongy mesophyll or the pellucid mesophyll. I think this is the pellucid mesophyll. This is the pellucid mesophyll. Then this is the spongy mesophyll. And then you can see a lot of air space, right? Air chamber, that means the air space. You can see a lot of empty space at here. So you can imagine that this empty space are found mostly in the pellucid mesophyll, which is the upper part. And then what happened is, you can see, what is this? Adam Suyang, what is this? This structure? This two cell. kidney-like shape. You want to have a guess? What is this? What kind of cell is this? I give you, it's okay. I tell you the answer. This is the gut cell. Okay, this is gut cell. Because in this leaf, the gut cell, they are located at the upper epidermis. But most of the plant that we learned before, or you encounter in your life before, usually their gut cells are found at the lower epidermis because most of plant they meet is they grow on the land. But in the plant, which is they grow in the water or they grow under the waters, so they will have this gut cell located on the upper epidermis, but not the but not at the lower epidermis, because these plants they are known as hydrophyte, means that they will be living underwater, which is D. So that's why the gut cell they need to be located at the upper epidermis, like here. So when the gut cell located at the upper epidermis, so they're able to breathe. They're able to take in the oxygen and release the carbon dioxide. Because they cannot be located on the lower epidermis because it's already synced with the water, already in contact with the water. So that's why they need to locate it at the upper epidermis, but not at the lower epidermis. If you can imagine that if the gut cell located at the lower epidermis, so it will be able to block by the water. So it's not good for the plant. That's why they need to be in the upper epidermis. So this is only found in the hydrophytes. These plants grow underwater. They are known as the hydrophyte. So most plants grow underwater. They have this feature, which is their gut cell is located on the upper epidermis in contact with the air, not water. Okay, and then for this one, okay, this is hey, what happened? Oh, okay. I think actually I got put some photo. Sorry. Okay. For this one, I got include some photo. This one. Have you heard of have you heard of kind of enzyme known as the pectinase? Have you heard of this enzyme before? Pectinase. So what is meant by pectinase? Pectinase is a kind of enzyme which is to help to break down the cell wall of the plant cell. This is a plant cell, right? And then this is their cell wall. This is their nucleus. This is their vacuole. So this is their cell wall. Cell wall of the plant cell is a very hard structure, like very hard, very resistant. Why? Because cell wall they contain what? Cell wall contain what? What kind of component are found in the cell wall? You learned before. C, start with C. Cellulose. Okay, cellulose fibers, which is major component of the cell wall. So apart from the cellulose, cell wall are also being made of the pectin. Okay, so pectin is also a very hard structure form the cell wall. So if you put the pectinase in contact with the plant cell wall, what happens is the pectinase, they will be digest the pectins. And then they will slowly dissolve the pectins. So this will cause that the inside the cell set of the plant cell, they will be leaked out. Means the contents are found within the plant cell, they will be leaking out because their cell wall is dissolving, is degrading. So when the content of the plant cell leaking out, they will cause increase in the volume. See? So you can say this Q is, they just put the Q, which is the apples together with water on it. But for the P1, they put the apple together with the pectinase. So that's why pectinase can help to increase in the volume of the juice produced. They're able to increase the volume, and also they're able to increase the clarity of the volume appearance. Okay, increase the volume, and they're able to increase the clarity of juice. What happened is because that you can see this apple juice initially, they are not clear in their color, right? Because why? Because the apple juice inside, especially the freshly brewed apple juice, they have a lot of fibers from their content. So you use this pectinase enzyme to break down the pectins, which is the insoluble fibers. So they will become the clarified apple juice. So just imagine, just remember that if you use the pectinase, you're able to increase the volume of your products produced. Okay, going down. Yeah, for this one. Okay, for this one, what happened is, this show about the potato tuber, right? This is the potato tubers. And then this is a shoot, the actively growing shoot. Actually, this is showing about a germinating potato tuber. You can see the shoot already growing out. So what happened is, because inside the tubers, they contain the nutrients. They store the nutrients, right? They store the nutrients to allow the plant to get the nutrients for growth. So the statement correct is the shoot are the sink. This one. This is a shoot. They refer to this one, shoot. So these shoot are classified under the sink. So what is meaning of source and sink? Source means produce the nutrients. Okay, you can refer to this page. Sorry, I share my screen again. Source and sink, you should be very clear about. Oh, what happened? You should be very clear about their definition, source and the sink. You can see for this one. Okay, this one later I will share to you. You can see my screen, right? This one. Okay, now we talk about translocations. Translocations is always happens from source to sink only, not from sink to source. Only from source to sink. You can see? Source, because source is the site which they will produce the glucose or sucrose. Usually they produce from the photosynthesis. So the sink is the place which is they use up the nutrients. They utilize the nutrients for growth. So for example, the source and sink is, source is including a leaf, right? Leaf. Okay, because the leaf produce the leaf can carry out the photosynthesis due to the presence of the chloroplast. And also, source also are found in the roots also. Because when talk about the roots, which is the root cortex cells, right? The root cortex cell itself, they can act in both source and sink. Okay, but usually, most of the time, root cortex cell, they are classified under the sink. Most of the time. Okay, which is in the sunny, maybe in the summertime. Okay, with a lot of sunlight, there will be high rate of photosynthesis. So the root cortex cell, they are sink. Because the source, which is a leaf, they're able to produce the glucose. So the glucose or the sucrose, they will be transported to the place which they need to store the excess nutrients. So they will store these excess nutrients in the sink. So one of the sink example is the roots, which is the root cortex cell. So sometimes the root cortex cell, in the summertime, they are becoming a sink because they store the nutrients. But in the winter time, during winter time, the plant unable to do photosynthesis because winter time they are lacking of the sunlight. So that's why, but the plant, they still need to survive, right? Even they are unable to perform the photosynthesis to get their foods. So they still need to survive. So what they are doing is they will directly break down the foods, okay, the energy from their storage organs, which is the root cortex cell. So during the winter time, the root cortex cell itself, they will becoming source. They will change their role from the sink become the source because they need to provide the nutrients already to the plant cell, okay, to sustain their life. Because inside the root cortex cell, they actually store a lot of the sucrose. They store a lot of starch, okay, which is the energy storage organs. Root cortex cell is just like energy storage site. It's just like in our liver cell, okay, in our liver cell, muscle cell, we also do store glycogens. So if our body is lacking of the glucose supply, so the glycogens storage in our liver cell and the muscle cell, they'll be break down to release a glucose to the bloodstream. Yeah, just similar for that. Okay, so for this one, you can see the shoot are the sink. Why? Because sink means that the place which is they use up the nutrients. So the tuber itself, they are classified as a source because they store the nutrients. Tuber store the nutrients. So it's just like a source. They provide the nutrients to other places. So for the shoot itself, it's a sink because the shoot they're actively growing, they're actively germinating. So they're actually using the nutrients. They're utilizing the nutrients for growth. So the nutrient is being supplied from the tuber, which is a source. So the answer is donkey. Okay? Soil will not ever to become a sink. Because soil is, they just contain about what? They just contain water, mineral, iron only. I refer to the soil inside, they contain soil water. So they will not be sink forever. Okay, and then for this one, I think you look at this picture before, right? This picture, actually, they're just showing that they are studying about the xylem and phloem. What they are doing is they are actually removing the tissue. They just remove about outermost layer. Actually, they are removing about the outermost layer of the tissue. Because the outermost layer of tissue, they contain what? Phloem on it. So the xylem is not removed, okay? Because in the stem, they are actually like this, right? In the stem. Their xylem and phloem's orientations will be in this way, which is a ring. This is the xylem. Outermost layer, they will belong to phloem. So they're actually removing this outermost layer. Remove away already. They're just keeping the internal layer. So that's why they happens with the upper part of the cutting section swell out, because the phloem is not exist anymore. So the phloem, they will help to do what? Translocations. They will help to transport the nutrients from one place to another place, right? So since you remove the phloem, so the sucrose unable to move from the leaf, which is a source, to the roots, which is a sink. Yeah, so answer is A. Okay, very good. And then, yeah. And then, yeah, for this one. Okay, so it's a bit complicated to be understand for you, but you can see this is a life cycle for the onion plant, right? Which is from the seeds, okay, from the seed. Then they will be growing up, become the plants until they produce a leaf. Until produce a leaf. So leaf is, they will become the source, right? Because they can do what? They can do the photosynthesis. So the leaf itself is a source. And then for the bud is just like the nutrient storage site. So the bud, they will be the sink. Okay, so until they die already. Yeah, until they die already. So after when they dead, okay, this 6 means that the bud itself, they become the source. Because after the onion plants, they die off, right? But their leaf already being removed. So they don't have a leaf anymore. But they still need to be growing new flower, right? So that's why now the bud, they become the source to the plant itself. So the bud, this bud, they become the source, right? They will provide the nutrients to grow the flower. So the six, they will be the bud become the source. So that is B, okay? It's not C, it's not C. Okay, so you just remember that initially the organs, which is the root, I mean the root cortex cells or the tubers, initially they are playing roles at the sink. But once the leaf is being removed away already, cannot do the photosynthesis. So that's why the zinc, they will switch to become the source to provide the nutrients to grow. Okay? Oh, sorry, just now I do a mistake. For this one, this bulb, okay, this bulb, they are acting just like the source. Okay, so this leaf is the zinc. Because the bulb, they provide the nutrients for the plant to grow their leaf. So the leaf is just zinc because it's that they are using the nutrients from the bulb. So that's why the bulb is a source. Okay. I did not say here. It's okay. Later I add on. Yeah, so this is just for you to memorize, okay? So for the leaf, root cortex cell and the potato tubers is their source. Because potato tubers, they help to provide energy for growth. So they are source. So the zinc are referred to the new shoot, okay, or any new organs to grow in the plants. Because they're actively growing, so they will be consuming the sucrose. Yeah, so this is different between them. Okay, and then for this one, yeah, this is just now what I say. Okay, so this X is actually processed from the evaporations, right, which is from the water. At here, they are still water, but when they enter to airspace, this is the airspace, they're becoming the water vapor, which is a gas form. Until when they release out, it's by diffusion. When they release out from the stomata, it's by diffusion. So you can see, once the water enter to the airspace, become water vapor, so there will be not more osmosis, no more. Osmosis only happens in between cell to cell. Means that the mesosome cell, when they get the water, and then they will diffuse the water to another cell, right? So this cell, they become what? They become high water potential because they get water. And this become low water potential. So immediately they will be allow the water transfer from another cell. So this between cell to cell, the water transport, they are under osmosis. Okay, clear? And then, yeah, I think this, okay. This one also, I think it's careless mistake. Yeah. Which plants is shown and what tissue labeled as H? So this H is referred to the phylum. This is xylem. Okay, this is in the roots. In the roots, they'll be in this way. It's because that in the stem, they'll be in the ring like this. It'll be the ring form. Okay. So it's different in their orientations. If there's an X at the center, they are referring to the roots part. So actually, this is referring to the roots part. Because imagine that the xylem and the phylum orientations in the roots, stem, and leaf, they will be in difference in their orientations. Okay, and then for this also, yeah, root cortex cells will be source and the zinc. Palisade mesosome cell, they will be always become the source because only palisade mesosome cell able to discover in the leaf, but not in other part of the plant. Only in the leaf only. So that's why they will be always become the source. Yeah, okay, for this, remember that always is the sucrose. Okay, from the source, they will be enter into the zinc. Zinc, they can be the tubers, root cortex cell, or any kind of nutrient storage organs in the plant. They'll be in this way, always. Okay, they cannot be like from the zinc to the source. So this is incorrect. Always from source to zinc. Source, produce it. Zinc, use it. And then for this one, what factors lead to increasing in the transpiration rate in the plant? So the answer is B. Okay, means that what's meant by transpirations? Transpirations is referred to the loss of the water vapors. Okay, loss of the water, okay, in form of water vapors from the surface of the leaf through the stomata. It's something like this. Okay, so when the transpiration become high, that means that, okay, Ethan Suyang, I ask you, when the transpiration become high, increasing transpiration rate, there will be more water loss or there will be less water loss. Which one? More water loss from the leaf or there will be lesser water loss from the leaf? Which one? Hi? Are you still there?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you increasing the transpiration rate, there will be more water loss from the leaf or there will be lesser water loss from the leaf. Which one? More or less?
More.
Yes, it's more. More water loss from the leaf. So what is the factors cause the transpiration rate to increase? Means that what is the factors that will cause more water loss from the leaf? So you have how many factors? You have about 4 factors, right? Wind speed, humidity, temperature, and light intensity. So you know that wind speed and temperature and the light intensity means that when you increase the wind speed or temperature or light intensity, you will be increasing the transpiration rate. You will be increasing the amount of water loss from the plant. Okay, so what happened is because wind speed, what they are doing is they will always, you can imagine that the wind will blow pass through the leaf, right? So they will bring away some water vapors nearby the leaf. Okay, so this is the leaf, right? This is the air surrounding the leaf. So here there will be lesser water vapors. This H2O actually I refer to water vapor, not water. Okay, water vapors. So this will cause that within the leaf, in the stomata, okay, within the airspace near the stomata, if compared to the outside, right, there will be lesser water vapor. So in the stomata, there will be in the higher water vapor, right? Higher water vapor concentration. So this will encourage the water vapor release from the stomata, enter into the atmosphere. This is in the atmosphere. Okay, atmosphere. So this is one of the way, because the wind speed means that increasing the wind will blow away the water vapors which is found nearby the stomata. So that's why they will cause the areas become lower water vapors. So the leaf itself become higher water vapors concentrations. So this will encourage the water vapor to release out to the atmosphere. Same to the temperature. Temperature, what they do is when you are increasing the temperature, means you are increasing the surrounding air temperatures. Temperature increasing in the air, that means the air become drier, right? 你增加你这个空气的温度，代表你这个空气是变得比较干燥。Okay? Means that when you increasing temperature of the air become drier. And when you increase the temperature in the air become drier. Drier means about the air, the water vapor inside the air, they will be reducing. So you're actually reducing the humidity in the air. Means that 如果你增加这个周围空气的这个温度，你会让这个空气变得比较干燥。如果你增加这个温度的时候，对不对？代表它那个空气里面的这个水就会减少。Okay, can you understand? So you can see that temperature and the humidity is always in the inversely proportional. It means that you want to increase the temperature and reducing the humidity of the air. This humidity in the air, humidity is referred to the 空气里面的湿度 means the water contents discovered in the area of air. 空气的湿度。Sorry. Okay, so do you clear, Ethan Suyang? And same to the light intensity, because when you're increasing the light intensity, right, it will cause the temperature to slightly increase also. So that's why you increase the light intensity also, you were able to increase the rate of transpiration. Yeah, so that's answer B. Okay, always remember that height wind speed, high temperature, and high light intensity, they will cause reducing in the air humidity. So, do you okay with that? Adam Suya, can you remember it? Okay, so I already finished about this chapter 8, paper 2. So now let us discuss about the chapter 9. So far, do you have any question to ask me? Adam Suya? Do you have any question to ask me? Okay, no? Okay. Okay, sure. Okay, we'll continue about the chapter 9 for the last week for this one, chapter 9. Oh, I think this is a new notes. Which note? I think this is not. Okay, we already learned about the circulation type. Okay, which is we have the single circulations, right? And then we have the double circulations. So for the human, we are classified under this double circulation because we have two types of circulation. One is we call as the pulmonary circulation. Pulmonary circulation is, that means that the circulation only involved in the between the lung and the heart. So this is known as pulmonary. Pulmonary. Here. Circulation involved from the heart to the lungs or the lung to the heart. So how about systemic? Systemic is the circulation which they involve from the heart to the body cell, body tissue. So this is known as the systemic, which is whole system. It represented the whole system. And then we have about the open and the closed circulatory system, right? So for human, we are under the closed circulatory system because our bloods, they are enclosed within the blood vessel. Means that we do have the blood vessel. So our blood is not directly contact with the body cell because we do have the blood vessel help to carry the bloods. Okay, and then you should know about the advantage of the double circulations. Means that why in the humans we prefer to have double circulation but not the single circulations is because double circulations can transport the blood or nutrients in the more efficient way compared to the single circulations. As we know that when they travel through the small capillary in the lungs, they will be losing a lot of pressures. So means that it cannot travel too fast. Means because your small capillary is too small already. So they're able to restrict the movement. So if you returning the blood to the heart after going through the lungs, the pressure can be raised again before sending it to the body. Okay, means that if you return the blood from the lung, enter into the heart. So on the lungs, they will be in the lower pressure, but when the blood enter into the heart, there will be higher pressure already. See, increasing the pressure in the heart before it's sent to the body, because in the body cell, they are required to get the nutrients and oxygen, right? So that's why you need to slightly increase the pressures when the blood enter to the heart. So until the heart, they will pump the blood to whole part of body to ensure all of your body cell being supplied with the oxygen and glucose-rich blood for the cellular aerobic respirations. So now we talk about the hearts, okay? The heart structure. So I think so far you know that the hearts they have about 4 chambers, right? 4 chambers. And then the left side, always remember that left side have the thickest ventricular wall. This one. You can see they're very thick, right? So thick. Thick ventricular wall is compared to the right side. right side, the ventricle wall is much more thinner. You can see thinner wall. And then I think you already know about the blood pathway, which is the blood is transmit from the aorta to the body cell, and then they will get into the blood capillaries, and then there will be transport back to the veins and enter the vena cava. Then new cycle happen again. So that's it. Okay, and then just remember that in the human's heart itself, they do not mix about the oxygenated bloods and the deoxygenated bloods. So why? Because that to increase the efficiency to pump the bloods. So that's why they have we call a septum. This is septum, like this here. This septum. Septum help to separate those two type of bloods. Okay, this is septum. So you can see that the two side of the hearts are separated by the muscle cell wall called as a septum. And then actually your heart is made of the muscle tissue. So they are being supplied with the bloods by the coronary arteries. So the coronary artery, they are referred to the artery, which is they supply the oxygen, they supply the nutrients to the cardiac muscle, to the heart muscle. Okay, because heart muscle, they will be always pumping bloods in every second in your life, right? So actually the heart is just like the muscular organs, because the heart actually made of muscle. The muscle is called the cardiac muscle. Okay, cardiac muscle. It's a kind of muscle tissue only found in the heart. So due to the presence of cardiac muscle, so the heart able to pump in the most of the time. Yeah, so actually the heart itself is a kind of the effector organs. Because the heart able to pump its blood, okay, able to contract and relax, and able to respond. So, yeah. Okay, so remember that in our body, we have two types of blood vessel. One is we call as a vein. This is a vein. Another one we call as an artery. This is the arteries. So what happens is the vein, they will carry the deoxygenated bloods. Okay, they will carry the deoxygenated bloods from the body cell. This is a vein. You can write down. Vein, they will always carry we call as a deoxygenated bloods from the body cell, for the body cell or body tissue to the heart and back to the lung. So from the body cell, actually they contain what? They contain we call a systemic vein. For example, vena vein, hepatic vein. Those are come from the organs. Okay, so they will be all go to the largest vein in your body, which is we call it vena cava. They'll go into the vena cava and then they will enter into the heart. So the heart, they will enter into your right side of the heart, from the right atrium to right ventricles, and then the heart will pump the deoxygenated blood. Because always remember that vein carry the deoxygenated blood only. So from the heart, when they pump the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, they are actually entered by the pulmonary artery. So this is artery. Okay, now we talk about artery. Artery is another story. This is artery. So what artery do is from the lung itself, they get the oxygenated blood because they already finished do the inhalation and exhalation. So now they get the oxygenated blood in the lung. And then the lung, they will be transport the oxygenated blood back to the heart. By what kind of blood vessel? By the pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein. So once the oxygenated blood enter into the heart, they will be enter into the aorta. This is the aorta. Aorta. So from the aorta, they will be go into the whole body cell. Then the cycle repeat again, just like in the first step. Yeah, so this is the story. Okay, so remember that arteries, actually what they are doing is they carry the blood away from the hearts because they need to supply the nutrient oxygen to all part of organs in our body. So this kind of blood vessel is always carry the blood outside. Okay, and then I think this you can read by yourself, which is the left ventricle. Always they have a thicker muscle compared to the right ventricle because they need to pump the blood in the high pressures to the whole body. But the right ventricles, why they have such a thin ventricular wall is they just need to pump to the lung only in a very low pressure. That's why, and also the vein, they do have the thing called as valve. Just like in your hearts, you also have valve like this. Your hearts have 4 types of valve, which is this one: tricuspid valve, semilunar valve, bicuspid valve. Totally, there's 4 valves you need to learn. Okay, so what's the function of the valve? The valve is they just need to ensure the blood travel in the forward direction, cannot backward. So it means that valve is to prevent backflow of the hearts. Prevent the backflow of the heart. Okay? Oh, sorry. To prevent blood flow of the blood, sorry. Means that they just want the blood to flow in the forward directions, cannot in the backward direction, just like this way only. One direction, cannot go back. Okay? If you go back, there will be problems. There will be problems. So you know that every time when you go to visit the doctors, when they want to do physical examination on you, they will be using their stethoscope and then listening to your heartbeats. So they are listening to your heartbeats. The rhythms means that how many heartbeats do you have in maybe in 1 minute. Okay, 1 minute. And then they will listen to any abnormal sound, because that if the valve, for example, if you have a problem in your valve, in your hearts, right? Maybe the valve cannot close completely. So they will cause some of the bloods backflow. So they must be moving in forward, right? But due to this incomplete closure of the valve, they will cause that some of the blood backflow, flow back already. So this will give a normal sound, which is required as a murmur. Okay. This is you did not learn in your IGCSE exam, but you can find it, okay, which is a murmur. Murmur heart sound is a kind of heart sound, a normal heart sound. I'm not sure, do you heard about your heart sound before? Lap, dap, lap, dap, lap, dap, lap, dap. Like this. This is your normal heart sound. Lap, dap, lap, dap, lap, dap. Later I send you a video, you can hear it. So it means that if your heart sound is a normal beat, there'll be lap, dap, lap, dap, this kind of sound. So that means that there's a backflow of the blood happens within your heart. So this is not good. Okay, so now we talk about function of valve. So the valve is just, they will prevent the blood to moving backwards. So you have 4 types of valve, right? So for the atrioventricular valve, atrioventricular is being comprised of the tricuspid valve, which is on the right side, and the bicuspid valve on the left side. Okay, so you can see this tricuspid and bicuspid valve is just between the atrium and the ventricle, just between atrium and ventricle. And then these valves are being pushed open when the atria contracts, but the ventricles relax. So when the ventricle contracts, they will be closed to prevent the blood from flowing backwards. To prevent the blood from flowing backwards to the atria. So you can imagine it this way, like this. This is the, we call as the right side and the left side. So this is the tricuspid valve. This is the bicuspid valve. So the bicuspid valve, they will open like this. If the atrial itself increase in their pressure, increase pressure. So this high pressure, they will force the valve to open already. So once the valve opens, they can allow the blood to transfer from the right atrium to enter into right ventricles. But when the right ventricle contracts, they contract means that they reducing in their volume but increasing in their pressure, right? So now the pressures increase in the right ventricles. So what will happen is the high pressure generated within the ventricle itself, maybe they able to cause some of the blood to backflow from the ventricles, enter back into the atriums. Then this is not good. So you need to prevent this happen. That's why when the ventricle itself contracts, they will force the atrial ventricle valve to close. Like this, close. So when they close, even the blood backflow back. Okay, but there will be hit back by the closure of the valve. So there will be no blood able to diffuse from the ventricles, enter into atriums. Yeah. So that's the story. So that's why this means that the valve need to open if the atrial contracts. Yeah. So just atrial contracts, the valve will open. But if there's turn of the ventricle contracts, valve will close. Okay. So this is same to the semilunar valve. Semilunar valve. So the valve will only opens when the ventricle contracts, so the blood is squeezed past them out of the heart. Okay, this means that when the ventricle contracts, okay, so they will force the blood flow from the ventricle, enter into the either is aorta or either is pulmonary artery. So when the ventricle contracts, what will happen is they will cause the semilunar valve to open. Which is this semilunar valve? Semilunar valve is found at the aorta, within the aorta and also within the pulmonary artery. There's a semilunar valve. So semilunar valve will only open once the atrium, once the ventricle, the left ventricle and the right ventricle contracts. So they will increase in pressure, right? So they will force the blood to go out. So they need to, they need to pass through the semilunar valve. That's why they will cause the semilunar valve to open itself to allow the blood to transfer from the ventricles into the pulmonary artery and the aorta. So you can see that when the ventricle contracts, we call as the atrial ventricular valve, which is the bicuspid valve, and tricuspid valve will close. But the blood will flow from we call as if from the right ventricles, they will be go to the pulmonary artery. If there's a left ventricles, this one left ventricles, they will be enters into the aorta. That's why you need to force we call it the aortic valve to open. And also the left ventricles, you need to open we call as this one, sorry. This is the aortic valve. Aortic valve. And then this is the pulmonary valve. Pulmonary valve. Okay, just remember that the valve is just to prevent the backflow of the hearts. That's all. And then now we talk about the pathway of blood flow to the heart. Okay, this one you can refer to this thing, okay? I show you the notes for the chapter 9. Okay. I think I sent you before, right? For this one. You can refer to this one. Okay, easier for you to understand. Okay, the whole pathway. And then now we talk about so this one you don't need to talk already because I think I explained to you before. And then I hope you are clear with it. I just need to know that how your blood is travel from the left side to the lungs, back to the heart, and then to the whole part of body. Yeah. So you always get the oxygen-rich blood to turn back to your left entrance by the pulmonary vein because they're just being released from the lung itself. And then you know that the lung will do the respiration, right? Means that they will inhale the oxygen and then they will release the carbon dioxide away. Okay, so the thicker muscle wall of the ventricle contracts strongly to push the blood forcefully into the aorta. So the semilunar valve, remember about the term, see? Semilunar, L-U-N-A. So semilunar valve, which is just like I said about the aortic valve and the pulmonary valve, they will just prevent the blood from flowing backward to the heart. So this is not allowed for them because when the blood, when the heart contracts, right? When the heart contracts, they already generate the high pressure. So the high pressure will just force the blood to flow out already. Either it's to the body cell or to the lungs. So that's why you need to have semilunar valve. So means that after the blood is being released from the from the hearts and then they'll get into lung, right? So they will cause the semilunar valve to close. Okay, so you just because they need to prevent the blood from flowing back into the hearts. That's all. And then the relationship between the exercise and the heart rate is whenever you do the exercise, you actually increase your pulse rate and also your breathing rate. So you can increase the heart rate, so the heart rate can be measured in the beat per minute. Okay, so this is the common question to ask in the paper 4. I will draw a star here. Okay, they will ask like this. Why heart rate increase during exercise? Then you need to explain. So what happened during exercise? During exercise, you're actually increasing your muscle contraction, right? Because you need to do what? You need jogging, running. So your body need to ensure always the sufficient blood is being supplied to the muscle. Okay, so that's why they need to get enough energies for the muscle to continue to work on. Okay, to do their contraction and relaxation. So that's why you need to do the cellular respiration. So when you are increasing the heart rates, you are also allowed for the waste products to be removed at a faster rate. Okay, so even though after you stop the exercise, I think you experienced this before, right? You just stop the exercise, but your heart rate still continue to beat fast. So the reason is because your heart rate is just trying to, not heart rate, your heart, okay? Your heart is still continue to pumping, trying to remove all the excess waste product from the cell itself, which is the majority of them is from the carbon dioxide. So they will do the accelerations. So however that during exercise, right, you are increasing the energy demand for the body cell. But now the problem is you are unable to supply them with a sufficient energy demands. So you'll be having the oxygen debt right there. Okay, because they will cause that most of the muscle cell, due to they don't have the presence of the oxygen, right? So they are forced to do respiration anaerobically during exercise. So you build up the oxygen debt. And then this need to be repaid following the exercise, so the heart will continue to beat faster to ensure that extra oxygen is being delivered to the muscle cell. So this means that even though you already stop the exercise, but your breathing rate is still continuing to increase in the constant rate, but just for a short time only. Okay, because they just want to ensure the oxygen is still being pumped to the muscle cell to pay off their oxygen debt. And then now we talk about the coronary heart disease. This one, the coronary heart disease they are referred to the abnormal health conditions happen related to the hearts. Okay, before we talk about this, we will see this one. This is we call as a coronary artery, right? So what is the function of this coronary artery? During exam, they might ask you about the function of the coronary artery. So the function is they'll do what? They will transport the oxygen and nutrients. The function of coronary artery is for this coronary artery. The function is they will transport the oxygens and the nutrients-rich blood to the heart muscle. So this is the function of the coronary artery. So you have left side and the right side. And then what happens is this coronary artery, they have a very high risk to be blocked. Okay, blocked by what kind of thing? Blocked by maybe a blood clot, or maybe we call as the cholesterol. So it means that if there's any waste material accumulate within your capillary lumens, it will cause a blockage within the artery. Yeah. So you can imagine that your whole heart is actually a kind of the effector, because they are just made from muscle tissue only. Even though the muscle tissue is very special, only the cardiac muscle. Means that this cardiac muscle tissue only found in the heart, but not in other organs, like the livers, like the kidneys. Okay, other internal organs, they are actually made from other muscle cells, which is they are made from the smooth muscle cell. They are made from this smooth muscle cell, which is from other organs, like the stomach, like the esophagus. And now we talk about the coronary artery disease. Okay, actually, this coronary artery disease is very common disease in the elders. Okay, in the aging peoples. Why? Because that due to their lifestyle, their diets, right? They did not have a good diet, have a healthy diet. They will eat a lot of unhealthy food. So this will cause what? This will cause about the extra, because of fats or the cholesterol build up within their blood capillary. So it will lead to coronary heart disease. So you know why? This is a healthy coronary artery. So you can see that within the lumen is still wide, right? Very wide. There's space for them to flow. So this is normal blood flow. But what happens is, if there's a narrowing of the coronary artery happens, so they will cause a plaque build up within the vessel wall. So when the blood, so means that when the plaque build up within the vessel wall, it will cause the blood vessel, the lumens, become very small. So you're able to reduce the blood flow like this. Okay, so this is not good for your body cell, because your body cell or your heart cell, they need to get their nutrient oxygen as fast as possible. But now what happened is, due to the blockage, sometimes the blockage is very severe until the blood unable to travel, unable to go through it. So this will cause about the heart pain. I'm not sure you heard about heart pain before. 心绞痛，心脏病心脏很痛。So what has happened to this we call as the heart disease. Okay, heart disease is like the problem is from their blood vessel wall too narrow already, or too hardened already, lack of the elasticity. So that's why they will cause the blood flow very slow. So means that they must allow the blood flow faster enter into the cardiac muscle. But now they are stuck until here, cannot further reach into the cardiac muscle. Okay, so that's why they will cause the cardiac muscle do not receive their oxygen and nutrients, so they will be deplete of their nutrients. So the heart is made of muscle cell. So muscle cell, they have their own supply of the blood to deliver the oxygen. So who supply the blood? Which is the coronary artery. So if the coronary artery become, we call it as a partially or completely blocked by the fatty deposit called as plaque, which is the cholesterol. Okay, I think Su-Yang and then you heard before, right? Means that you need to have a good diet. Okay, avoid diet which contain too high cholesterol. Do you know what is cholesterol? Have you heard about cholesterol? And that's why have you heard about cholesterol before? Cholesterol is 胆固醇. Okay. We have a good cholesterol, we have bad cholesterol. So the bad cholesterol, they will cause this to happen, which is they will cause a plaque to build up within the blood vessel, within the artery. So they will cause reducing in the lumens, restrict the blood flow. This is what happens in the, we call as the coronary heart disease. Coronary heart disease. So once the plaque together with the fatty deposit build on the walls, okay, once they build on the walls, they will cause that the artery not be the kind elasticity. Okay, yeah, that's all. And then now we talk about this. Okay, so this blockage by the plaques, which is either is by the fatty deposit of plaques, we call it partial blockage and the complete blockage. So in the partial blockage, what happens is the coronary artery create a restricted blood flow to the cardiac muscle cell and result in the severe chest pain or the angina. What is meant by angina? Angina is this one. Heart pain. Okay, it refers to heart pain. In the Chinese term, it's like this. This one. This is called as angina. Okay, so means that if suddenly there's a blood clot happens and they block, they already block the blood flow to the heart muscle, so they will cause this. The heart muscle will be dying. Okay, in just a few hours they'll be dying because they did not get the oxygen. So means that when your heart did not get enough blood, you will feel pain. You will feel pain. Okay, so if you have complete blockage, means that the cell in the area of the heart, they will be not able to respire and cannot longer contract. So this is called the heart attacks. So, okay, complete blockage means that there's totally no more oxygen or nutrients enter into hearts. So the hearts, okay, they need to be constantly pumping, right? But the problem is now they did not get any glucose supply. So can the hearts able to work even though they don't have glucose supply? The answer is cannot. Okay, because the heart is just like the muscle cell. Heart is just like muscle cell. Okay, because heart is just made from the cardiac muscle, right? It's a kind of muscle cell. So muscle cell, they need to be always moving. Contract, relax, always contract, relax. Like this way. Okay, so at that way, do you clear? Okay, so what is mean by plaques? Plaque is just like we call as the waste material they build up within the blood vessel. Just that the plaque, they contains like the others minerals, okay, or the fats, like the cholesterol or the calciums. So you can see how they block the blood flow. So sometimes they will form this thrombosis. Thrombosis means 血块, the blood clot. Okay, because this blood clot is also very dangerous. It will be stuck within the blood capillary, which is smaller in lumen. So this is very dangerous. Very, very, very risky. So it means that if you have a block in your coronary artery, you will be having your chest pain, heart attacks. Okay, I think, yeah. Okay, so for the plaque is the substance which is they will block the blood flow to your heart. So the plaque is usually made up of the cholesterol and also the white blood cell. Okay, these two things. Yeah, so the coronary artery, they will be causing the narrow and restricted blood flow and cause the artery wall become less elasticity. So this is their side effect. You can see the difference between normal and the narrowing artery. Yeah, so if you have a normal blood flow, they'll be in this way. So if you are in the narrowing artery, they'll be this way. Okay, so here's a risk factor for the coronary heart disease. You can have a bit for the answer. So some of the points you can write in your IGCSE paper for if they ask you these questions. Okay, this show that if you are eating more saturated fats, you know what's mean by saturated fat? Saturated fat is referred to the 饱和脂肪酸. You have two types of fat, right? Saturated fat and the unsaturated fats. So the problem is saturated fat, they will increasing in the cholesterol. They will increasing in cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol. And then the bad cholesterol, they will be stay within your blood vessel and then become a plaque. So they will causing the blocking of the blood vessel. And then the stress the hormones produced can increasing in the blood pressures. Okay, increasing the chance of the blockage in the coronary artery. So, Adam Suyang, don't be stressed. Don't be stressed because if you feel under stress, you will produce a hormone. So these hormones can increase your blood pressures. 高血压. So that's why they always say that 高血压, 心脏病, okay, which is a high blood pressure and the heart attacks always come together. And also together with the diabetes or obesity. Okay, actually this high blood pressure or in another term, you know high blood pressure in another term called as what? The medical term, high blood pressure, they cause as the term is known as the hypertension. So in our blood pressures, it's always maintained like this. We call it systolic and diastolic, right? Diastolic, this one. Diastole and systole. Okay, this you don't need to memorize. I just let you do, know more only. Diastole means relaxation of the heart. Systole means contraction of the heart muscle. So what will happen is in the hypertension people, right? Okay, systole for the normal people, they'll be around 120 mmHg. This is their pressure. Diastole, they will be about 80 mmHg. So if the blood pressure of someone, they're being recorded with higher than normal range, maybe about 150. It called as hypertension. Or maybe it will be exceeding 180. It'll be too risky. So you need to take some medicine or drug to control the hypertension, to try to bring back the blood pressures back to your normal range. Means that to try to lower down the blood pressure. Okay, because this 150 is too high. It's higher than the normal range, which is 120. Even though if you get about 130s, you need to be alert of your health condition already. Okay, so Dr. Suyang, do you know what's the effect of the high blood pressure, which is hypertension? What is their side effect? You can imagine that the high blood pressure means what? High blood pressure means that this is within your blood vessel, right? And then this will be the blood flowing. So if you have a high blood pressure, maybe due to the narrowing of the artery, this is normal, right? Whenever the narrowing artery wall happens, so from this diameter, they will be reducing in this diameter. Smaller in the diameter of the blood vessel. So what will happen is, you can see that the bloods, when they're flowing, they'll be harder. Okay? Because now the blood capillary, it's not blood capillary, the blood vessel narrow of the lumen of the blood vessel. But you still need to pump the blood, right? But the blood will be pumped under very higher pressure because due to the lumens is being narrow already. So they're pressing toward the blood flowing through them. So this is not good. So by this way, you're able to increase the blood pressure. But actually, this is not good, okay? So what will happen is, if you are narrowing the lumen of your blood vessel, first one. Secondly, okay, the worst condition is if you have the blood clot. So it will cause what? This will cause about the blood's unable to flow further again, unable to reach their target cell. So that's why this will cause the conditions known as what? Stroke. 中风. Okay, do you know why the people suddenly they have a stroke? Because they have this kind of problem. Usually, if the people found with stroke, right, usually they are being associated with the hypertension. Because that sometimes the bloods, they are always slow under high pressure until their blood vessel bursts. So also this will contribute to stroke. Okay, so be careful. Take care of yourself. Don't get stroke. Okay, because if you get stroke, it's very sad things lah. Because if you get strokes, for example, some old people they get stroke, right? They are able to control themselves. Okay, like they will be like unable to control their face expression if they are if they are one side of their face or one side of parts get stroke. And then smoking also. Nicotine in the cigarette will cause the blood vessel to become narrower, so increasing the blood pressures. Okay, because when your blood vessel become narrow, what happens is you are actually reducing the volume, right? This is volume is increasing, right? But now you are trying to reducing the volume. So if you reduce the volume, definitely the pressure within the blood capillary, they will be increasing. Okay, so together with the fats and the plaques, they will cause the coronary heart disease. Then how about this? Okay, the heart disease can be inherited due to the genetic predispositions. So if the people will have the history of the coronary heart disease in their family, they are more likely to develop it themselves. This is called as the 基因遗传因素. And then for age, so if the older people, they have the higher risk of getting the heart disease. And also for the gender, actually male will be had a higher incidence of develop this heart disease if compared to the female. Do you know the reasons? Because male, due to their lifestyle, okay, due to their lifestyle, and then due to their metabolism, so male is easily to get the heart disease is compared to the female. And then now we'll talk about the prevention and treatments to prevent the coronary heart disease. Means that very simple. You need to control your diet, to do more exercise, right? And then reducing the unhealthy food like the animal fats in the diets, because you want to reduce your cholesterol level. So whenever you go to do the blood checkup, you always get to check for this cholesterol, which is we call it a good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. See, good cholesterol or the bad cholesterol. The bad cholesterol is example of the LDL, low density lipoprotein, LDL. The good cholesterol, there will be the high LDL. I think you do the body checkup before, right? Please know about these sections, which is the cholesterol level. Okay, means that if you have too much of LDL, you'll be very higher risk to get this narrowing of the blood vessel, because high LDL means that within your blood you have a lot of fat. Okay, this bad cholesterol. So this bad cholesterol, they're easily to clot, form together to form a plaque, and they will cause a blockage of the blood flow. And then now, how are we able to treat the coronary heart disease? First, you can do the angioplasty. Okay, this angioplasty is very expensive treatment. It's cost about 5 digits. Okay, just one-time treatment, 5 digits. What happened is you already know that your blood vessel already become narrow, right? Like this, narrow. So what you do is you try to insert the catheter with a stent. This is a stent. This is a catheter. This is a catheter. This is a stent. Because the stent, they can expand out. So you can imagine that when you expand the stent, and then you remove away the catheter, so left the stent in the coronary artery. So the stent is just like the stent that will be stay within the blood vessel, like this way. This is stent. So they will help to allow the blood vessel to remain open. Okay, see, initially you insert the narrow catheters into the blood capillary, and then you insert the tiny balloons. It's pushed up to the blood vessel, and then you inflate. You use a balloon to inflate, right? A balloon. So after that, when you inflate the balloons, this will widen the artery wall. clearing the blockage. So if you want to keep your artery always in these open directions, you need to place a stent, which is a metal, within your blood capillary, blood vessel. So also to insert when push against the wall of the artery. So like this, it means that you insert with catheter first, then you insert with the balloons, and then you place the stent, remains in the coronary artery. So the coronary artery, they will remain in open always. This is called angioplasty. Angio means blood vessel. Plasty means like using like the balloons or the stent to do this. This is one of method we call as an angioplasty. Then now we talk about coronary bypass surgery. I think you heard this before. You call it a 心脏绕道手术. This one, 心脏绕道手术. It's also one of the options for the heart disease treatments. So what they are doing is, because you know that maybe at this spot, right? This spot. Oh, sorry. The blood vessel already being blocked. So you already know that it's being blocked. So that's why you need to find another alternative blood vessel. So this coronary bypass surgery is, they will use another blood vessel to link to the part of the blood vessel which is already blocked. Right? Maybe here already blocked, right? They link to here. Okay, so they will use a piece of blood vessel from the leg, arm, or chest, okay, to connect it with the blood vessel, which already, to connect the blood vessel, another end. And then they need to bypass the block area because the block area cannot be used already. So they need to bypass. So by this, they will create a new passage. So this is called as the bypass graft, coronary bypass. Yeah. Okay, so and then for the blood vessel, you have 3 types of the blood vessel, which is because artery, veins, and the capillary. And then you need to know the difference. Okay, actually for this one, I already prepared the notes for you. You can have a look on this one. You can read this note. You can read this note. This is very important notes. Okay, because this note already include the important point to be memorized in your exam. Okay, so you can see this coronary artery. So coronary artery, they be treated by this coronary bypass and angioplasty. Okay, so the difference between the artery, vein, and capillary is like this way. Okay, artery, you need to observe about their muscle. They have they have very thick muscular wall with the elastic fibers. That's why artery, they always have very small lumen because their outside wall is too thick already due to the muscle. So artery, they can able to generate under the high blood pressure. Okay, they can produce a high blood pressure due to their thick muscular wall. But this cannot be done in the vein because vein, their wall is too thin already because they don't have much muscle. It's very thin like this. See, this is the vein. And so they have a very large lumens and the valve. They need to have a valve because in the vein, they have a very low pressure, right? So this low pressure, maybe they will cause about the backflow of the blood. So they need a valve to prevent any backflow of blood to happen. See, so remember, thin wall, large lumen, and then they have valve. Then how about capillary? Capillary is they have a very low pressure than the vein, and it's one cell thick. So capillary, actually, they have a lowest pressure if compared to the vein. Artery is very high, vein is low, but capillary is much more lower. Because in the capillary, they're just very thin. It's much more thinner wall than the vein. Capillary is just one cell thick. One cell thick means that the thickness is just like the cell. That means it's very thin. So capillary is just formed by a single cell. Okay, single cell. Okay. I think the class will stop until here. And then I will send you question again. Okay. So please remember to read about this chapter 9. And then okay, you should also read on this I sent to you, which is a chapter 9 transport paper 4 important note. You can read on this in your free time. And then you can refer to the quiz card. This is the quiz card. Because sometimes maybe you don't know which is the important point, right? Then you can read on this. Because I already summarized all the important point in this document already. So you can just refer to this. Okay, so that's the class for today. Hope you enjoy the class. Adam Suyang. Later I send you some interesting video for the hearts. Okay. Okay, sure. Bye. Good night.
Thank you.